didn't really have any guidance or direction in my life after high school, so the Army presented a great opportunity to join some money for college, as well as provide a little bit of discipline and structure in my life. Coming back from 2006 to St. Louis, I really had a problem with finding a job, maintaining the quality of life and discipline and happiness that I had with my brothers while deployed. So I joined active duty in 2007. Shortly after that, I met my wife Jessica. We had been high school sweethearts in St. Louis, but due to distance had separated and re-met in Texas. After Lates was born at about 6 months old, I deployed to Afghanistan for my 4th tour. Upon return from that, I moved to Rock Island, Illinois. In Rock Island, Illinois, I suffered a cervical disc rupture in my cervical spine due to an Army combatives training accident. I lost proper and complete movement of my left arm. It was tough. The Army gives you a profile for limiting conditions. I didn't want to be less than what I was before surgery, and started a new fire in me to become a fitter, better version of what I was prior to the surgery. In 2013, I was able to compete at the NCO of the Year competition and was able to be honored as one of the top 12 NCOs in the Army. Shortly after that, I did my 5th tour in Afghanistan. About 2 months in, I had suffered an injury while doing PT to my lower back, and I had requested that the surgeon in the Quad Cities that did my original cervical spine surgery do my lower back surgery, given that my amount of trust and my family's amount of trust in the outcomes that he had provided. And he was very upfront. He said, you know, this will probably help the foot, but you will probably have back pain for the rest of your life. And it's something I deal with. I still continue to work out. I still continue to be, I try to be an example to my soldiers and to fellow leaders. You know, if I can do what we're doing, you can do what we're doing. The nurses at Walter Reed stated I would never run again, I would never lift weights again, and I really take joy in the ability to be able to prove them wrong.
So I volunteer with an organization here on Oahu called Hiking with Keiki, and we provide families the opportunity to go out and hike. And we've met tons of military families. It's a great opportunity for people whenever they first move to the island to get out and adventure with their families and also to make new friends. Mahalo for this great honor.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Us as combat photographers in the military, we probably have what I feel is one of the best jobs in the military. We get to do and see a lot. You know, we both of us have flown on helicopters, aircraft, we've deployed to special operations, special forces, we've done civil affairs work, any kind of infantry unit, we've done it.
In Baghdad, there's a central location where we send all of our photos and videos. And when I walked in to JCCC, everyone was huddled around a computer and they're like, oh wow, this guy's photos are really great, can't believe he's a Marine. And a year or so later, we were at Syracuse together, and that's where we first met. We started dating and it clicked. It was really funny because it turns out it was his photos that we were all looking at, going, oh my gosh, this is really good.
So Syracuse is the advanced visual journalism program for the military. I got accepted to the program after my tour in Iraq, and during that tour I was doing a lot of combat operations with the Joint Task Force. After the program, I got orders to Miramar in California, and Tiffany got orders to Hawaii. And so we were separated for 3 years before I was able to get orders out here to Hawaii. Last year, I received the honor of being the U.S. Marine Corps Combat Cameraman of the Year for the occupational field. What makes the military unique in some ways is the kind of the brother and sisterhood that we have in the service. And so you don't have to be stationed for somewhere very long, and usually when you meet people the first time, it's like you've been family your whole life. Being dual active duty, especially with me being in the Marines and her being in the Army, is challenging. It multiplies though with dual active because we both have our responsibilities to our service and then as well as to our families, and sometimes those conflict with each other. Yeah, last year was a crazy ride. I mean, we went, between her going through her med board for her medical issues and me on a constant kind of rotation. It took a long time for her to get her diagnosis with an autoimmune disease. With her being dual active duty, that was a big shock for us because she can no longer do her job. And so we got through the last 2 years really just with the support of mostly our friends in the military. Been able to be there for Tiffany while I was gone, so it's a huge privilege and honor, to receive this award. We hold it definitely in high regards.
What initially drew me to the Navy was that both my brothers actually participated in the Navy. Been given quite a few great opportunities since I've joined the Navy. So I spent my first tour here in Hawaii at Commander U.S. Pacific Fleet. My first tour was a lot of learning what the Navy is really about. Really getting into the weeds of what my job entails and becoming a specialist. As an operational intelligence specialist, my sole job is to take all these different aspects of intelligence, bring them all together and really paint a picture for key leaders to enhance their ability to make educated decisions throughout the area of responsibility. So mentorship is a program that I hold near and dear to myself. Is actually being there in the deck plates with your sailors, so showing them how to effectively utilize these tools that we give them to help benefit their careers. This means anything from advancement programs, from training our sailors to ensure that they're fully qualified at their jobs, and also what we can do to ensure that they're meeting their personal goals, be it financial or things that they enjoy outside of the Navy.
When we first started dating, I guess I can say that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. At 19, not really understanding that he's in the Navy and that's going to mean that he's going to be gone, I'm going to be here, and what that was going to entail. So we had to really learn to depend on one another, and that kind of carried us through those hard times.
So Sailor approached me. Where he came from, there was a program in place, and on a monthly basis, they visited these veterans. So together, created this program, and we call it Navy Cares. And what we do is on a monthly basis, we gather sailors and civilians, family members for that matter, and we'll go ahead and pay our respects to these veterans. And it's actually a great time. What we do is, believe it or not, we'll sit there and we'll play cards with them, we'll play bingo with them, we'll conduct room visits, we'll just be there, right? We'll just be there with them to show our respect.
My name is Master Sergeant David Christopher Bickle. I'm in the United States Air Force. I'm a TAC-P, also known as Tactical Air Control Party member. My senior year in high school, my mom actually worked for a person in the Air Force as a nurse on McCord Air Force Base in Seattle, Washington. He told me about different jobs in the Air Force that were, you could jump out of planes, blow stuff up, shoot big guns. I'm like, hey, that's right up my alley. And so I took a physical fitness test, it's called a PASS test, and I took that initially and then joined the Air Force in August of 1995. I put in an application to work with Special Forces or Green Berets, and so I got selected for that. On my last deployment in December of 2008, we were doing a daytime mission where we were looking for a high-value individual in the city of Mosul. And at this Iraqi police checkpoint, they had an IED and an ambush, a very complex ambush setup. And they detonated the IED right on my vehicle. I took the brunt of the blast, and I still had my weapon in my right hand, and I remember looking down at my arm, because I couldn't really feel it at that point, and I had a piece of rebar basically crossing, and it looked something out of Hollywood, and I was kind of in disbelief. About 2 months or so after that, my senses started kind of calming down because I was back from that deployment, and I started just thinking about the prior 9 deployments I had before that, all the people I couldn't save, all the people we didn't bring home, my friends that have died really started to surface. Everything I suppressed really surfaced. The commander again called me back, said, you're deploying. And I told him, I'm not in my right mind, basically. I need help. And he goes, you're not a doctor, you're not the one to make that call. I knew I'd get blackballed, like most of us have when you say you need help or you're injured or anything. So I did go see a therapist on base. And within 15 minutes of that appointment, she had put me on non-deployable orders and said, I can help you. So from that point on, I was non-deployable for the foreseeable future. They told me it'd be about 3 years for my brain to heal because I ended up having traumatic brain injury from the explosion that ripped through my brain. I was having short-term memory loss constantly. I'd have to write stuff down. I would get to work. I would forget how to get home. I'd forget where I parked. I'm left-handed. I would start writing with my right hand. They made me non-deployable and they gave me orders to Nellis Air Force Base and was there for 4 years and I healed up almost 3 years to the day. And in October of 2014, I met my beautiful future wife.
So in 2016, we had our wedding, and everything was perfect. And with our new baby girl, we are due January 18th, and super excited. It couldn't have turned out any better.
So back when I was 19 years old, I was working for the Army Corps of Engineers, and we had really bad winds that day, and I watched the winds pick up an 18-wheeler and throw it off the side of a bridge. And then right thereafter, a Coast Guard helicopter came overhead and was helping in that search, and I remember seeing the rescue swimmer hanging out of the bay door, and that's when I decided that that is exactly what I wanted to do. I joined the Coast Guard back in 2001. From there, I was stationed down in San Diego, and then I went to do tactical law enforcement, specifically anti-terrorism. It also took me overseas to Iraq. My second trip back took me to the Horn of Africa, where we started to combat piracy. I think that the greatest thing that seems to fall short that most people don't know is the fact that we are a military branch. We have the same pay grades, we have the same benefits. Cycle for the 300 was a really neat opportunity, something that I got to do and be a part of, to raise money and awareness for Headstrong.org. They collect money to assist veterans that deal with PTSD and different mental issues. On base here, I volunteer to be on the Honor Guard.
Some of the challenges that we face, just the time that's spent away from family, friends. Technology has been a real blessing. I've really enjoyed having the girls at the ASYMCA in their preschool program. It's just nice knowing that everyone in the classroom is kind of in the same boat as you are as far as being a military family.
Thank you so much for this honor of being recognized. Recognition comes in so many forms, and this forum being put on a public platform is just such an honor, and we truly appreciate everything that you guys have done for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Prior to the Guard, was kind of lost, trying to figure out my way, what I really wanted to do in life. My younger brother actually enlisted in the Guard before me, so I seen how that helped him. And I figured, maybe I give it a shot. That's probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. After advanced individual training, I was a weekend soldier for, I want to say 3 years, during which I used my education benefits. I went to school, I went to a Honolulu Community College aviation maintenance program. That helped broaden my knowledge in the aviation field, not just on the sheet metal side, but I also learned the avionics, the mechanics, the power plant, the powertrain, which actually helped with this job, with the aviation background. My job title is an airframe structural repair, an aircraft airframe mechanic. It's very crucial, and that's the integrity of the aircraft. They gave us the green light, let us know that there is a very high possibility of deploying. Tried to build a strong relationship with the family before we left, or that way they don't miss me so much, even though they're gonna. My first time in Kuwait, my first impression was this place it's really hot. When we landed, it was about 125 degrees, just dry heat. The younger soldiers, not necessarily in age, but in time in service, time in the field, it was a lot of mentoring, a lot of teaching, a lot of patience that I had to learn. I'm glad that my background with schooling, with working full-time, helped them to grow and be very good sheet metal mechanics. Returning home was a relief, but at the same time it felt weird because you're so used to your daily routine, and it's just a total change. I think my family would get mad at me if I said that I'm actually looking forward to deploying again. I think mainly because of the camaraderie. You're always around your fellow friends, your fellow soldiers, and the relationships you build with them. You can't get that anywhere else.